Good evening, Hatfield, and welcome to the March 19th Board of Selectmen's meeting here at Hatfield Memorial Town Hall in the basement, I guess, next to the
Studio 1A.
Studio 1A. Anyways, we have a public hearing at 6 p.m. and it is about 2 minutes after 6. This has to do with the Town of Hatfield Economic Development Fund. This is now the public hearing notice. The Hatfield Board of Selectmen will discuss its proposed Economic Development Fund application to the Massachusetts Department of Housing and Community Development Block Grant Program. The hearing will be held on Tuesday, March 19th, 2013 at 6 p.m. at Memorial Town Hall, 59 Main Street. The hearing is being held to discuss the town's proposed funding request for a center school building site assessment and economic development plan project, which will develop a marketing strategy for the site, identify and prioritize economic development and housing mixed-use options for the reuse of the building, and finally conduct an assessment of the building to determine what improvements are needed for the types of uses identified. Any person or persons or organization having questions or comments concerning the application will have the opportunity to be heard. The Town of Hatfield, through its Board of Selectmen, will be responsible for grant administration. The Pioneer Valley Planning Commission will assist the Hatfield Board of Selectmen and oversee the implementation of the program. All right, so we now have the meeting opened, and I guess we will refer to any public comments, if anybody has any comments.
What's it about?
Okay. I'll let Jim Mazik, he is from the
Well, we can come.
he's from the Community Development,
No, he's from Pioneer
or
Valley.
Pioneer Valley Planning. I'll let him explain it to you, so.
Did a great job with the legal notice, so. Again, this pertains to the center school building across, the Center Street School Building across the street. Center School Buildings, excuse me. The town has submitted a pre-application to DHCD about, 2 or 3 months ago, and essentially this application is an economic development program. Pre-application required first, and then final application. The pre-application was just preliminary, and it indicated the desire to look at potential reuses for that building. And again, as Jan read it in the legal notice, possible commercial, professional, housing, or mixed-use combination. The pre-application was approved, and the next step is to submit the final application. The final application has to be submitted by April 3rd, so many days from after the pre-app. So essentially, the proposal would be for, as indicated, to look at hire a building assessment consultant and hire a marketing firm of sorts. Look at, what are the best type uses? Look at the market of the immediate area and about, look at the space. What is the best use for that building? Identify from that basis what would be the cost for improving, renovating, and rehabilitating that property. And then what would be, incorporate maybe some conceptuals, footprints, layouts, internal, that sort of thing. And then come up with, the best way to market that building, should you choose to do that, or should you choose to partner to identify someone, how you would do that. That's essentially the gist of it. And we, as an agency, the Planning Commission, have involved with three previous projects, similar, where it was a former school building, town of Chester, town of Ware, town of Southampton, all went through the same process, and 2 out of the 3 were successful in then turning that property over into another use. In Southampton's case, it was looked at mixed use, both combination commercial and then some for municipal government. And they did end up just developing it primarily for a governmental purpose. I think there is still a wing that they can use for multi and for other uses. In Chester's case, they decided to dispose of the building, and they sold it. They did an RFP process we helped them with, and they sold it to someone who's using it for a, well, actually, they're involved in a theater down in New York, and they use it to store all their costumes and
The little
whatever.
theater?
Yes, well, not the miniature, but actually, this person is in New York City. He's involved somewhat with the miniature, but he actually uses that to store all the costumes from his theater productions down there. And where, unfortunately, South Street School is still sitting there, and it's been, 4 or 5 years ago. It just wasn't the market to put that into any type of use. The best use in that case would have been next door. Hospital didn't have the need for expansion, so it still sits there today. So again, this would follow the same steps as in those previous projects I mentioned. And hopefully with this being submitted, the town would receive those funds, could undertake the assessment, the analysis, and to see what's the best use and what's the best way to put that property into some sort of use.
What is the funding?
Funding's $50,000. That's the maximum it can be used for a planning project. $45,000 would be for consultant, for the 2 consultants. There'd be about $1,000 for a combination of advertising. Advertising's not cheap anymore, and about $250 for mileage. And then we have $4,000, which is about 30 to 60 hours, depending upon staff we would have, to then work with the town in developing the RFP for the consultants, putting the project out to bid, overseeing the procurement, working with you with a committee, and identifying the preferred consultants, doing the contracts, attending the committee meetings, and then doing all the reporting and the closeout with DACD. So that would be the total of $50,000.
Can be working with the renewal authority here in town?
What I'm going to suggest to the board, and that's something that I'm proposing in the application documents, is that they would set up, and this has worked well in other communities, an ad hoc committee, which could be representatives from the Economic Development Authority, Renewal Authority, Selectmen, other groups, 4 or 5 members, to then work with the selection of the consultant or consultants, and then in meeting with them over the course of the project duration. And then there'd be a minimum of 2 meetings with the public, but you'd have this working group from a broad base working with the consultant in terms of, so they can get all, it could be from also the housing authority involved as well. So that's going to be the call of the board if they want to go in that direction, but that's what I recommend if the grant gets awarded.
Sir.
Bill Mazick. How long has we've been sitting on this property anyway? It's been quite a few years, right?
Years.
And I know we
Years.
kicked it around about a year ago. We might do something, might not do something. We're gonna spend $50,000 to take and have someone come in and give us some advice and stuff. Well, there's some outfits around. They call them realtors. And you have realtors for houses, you have realtors for commercial building. And you hand the property to them, and it doesn't cost you a damn penny until they sell it. And all the work that we're going to be $50,000, and we're going to be paying somebody to do all this research, development, this, that, and everything else, and then to decide whether it's marketable or not. I don't know. There's plenty of realtors I know around town, and they're all hungry right now. Real estate ain't going that good. All you gotta do is sign a 6 months contract. It's gonna cost you zip.
Yeah,
And
but
they're
hang
gonna
on one second.
research,
Hang on one
they're gonna
second.
advertise.
Yeah, hang on one second. I hear you with selling it, but the town's wishes are not to sell it. That was brought up on town floor. It was voted on town floor. Do not sell this building. Try to get the best use out of it for the town. So, I mean, that's where we stand on that.
Couple of things. This is not a charge to the town. This is a grant request.
It's
The
still
state,
taxpayers' money. I don't
the
care if it
state,
comes
yes.
out right-hand pocket
Yeah.
or left-hand pocket.
but
it's still
getting back to your point about, we've been through this, it wasn't just last year. I mean, this goes back several years. There was an attempt to sell it for housing. That was defeated. There was a subsequent attempt to use it for municipal purposes, for the town would fix it up and use it. That was defeated. Along the way, We went to the town saying, do you want to sell it or do you insist on retaining it? The vote there was to retain it. And the last effort was with a charter school looking at it. And they finally got into it and determined it was going to cost them too much money to rehab and expand the building to meet their particular needs. So this has dragged on for a whole number of years. Meanwhile, the building sits, and we're reaching out to some expertise here to help us do the assessment as to what best uses might be available for that, what would be the best way to market it, and what it would take for someone to come in and pick up and use the center school, and at what cost. And this study that we're talking about would help define all that.
Well, the way I'm looking at it is,
It's kicked around for too many years.
I know, but what I'm saying is you're really limiting your options when you say we gotta keep it for city use.
Well,
I mean,
municipal use.
You had municipal use. I don't care what. You had a private school that was going to take it over. They looked at it. The cost was prohibitive to them. So what?
They wanted to expand it as well. Yes.
Yeah, but what does that mean to us as taxpayers? I mean, we're talking initial investment, and yeah, it's. I guess we get the money from China like everybody else. It's free, so we're not paying for it. But I heard they were involved in 3 projects. One project went to storing outfits.
No.
One project was
So this is-
sold, and the other project fell through.
One project, the town, and on the one project where it was sold, and the town in the same center, it was in the center of the town. It was sold with restrictions on the property, on the exterior appearance, and some of the land the town could still continue to use. It was because of historic considerations, because of the restrictions. On the other property, it was retained for municipal use. One of the factors in that, and that's one thing that was mentioned here, the assessment in terms of the building assessment for what it costs to rehabilitate it, in terms of ADA compliance, code compliance, looking at hazardous materials, underground storage tank, code review, and what is it going to take for either housing or just for an office type renovation. You'll come away, you'll have a pretty good number of what it's going to cost. A decision to say, well, does it make sense for us to keep that and maybe try to get some of the money through some sources, or clearly we cannot afford to do this. It's this is out of we can't. So now we need to do something. We either let it sit there, it's going to deteriorate, or we do have to put it up for sale for reuse. You have the information, you can go to town meeting, and that's factual information that you can have a knowledgeable vote by your residents what they want to do. It's going to cost $5 million. Can we afford $5 million? No. It's going to cost $1.5 million. Well, maybe we can afford $1.5 million. But that's some of the answers you'll get out of this study from that. And you might say also, well, what's the market dictate? The market say, yeah, this is really good potential for some professional office business based upon the need, or it could say there's no use for that here. So then you can say, is there a reuse option for that type of activity? You'll know that. You can make an educated decision how you want to, if you want to keep or dispose of that property.
Okay, is there any more questions? Anybody else up?
If not, I move we close the hearing.
Second.
Okay, motion made, second, close the hearing, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I have 2 suggested motions, if you look at your 3rd page. One is long-winded, that's the first one. And then I just have a couple comments, if I may, after on some paperwork that needs to be done, if you choose to move forward on the application.
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
I move to authorize to submit the proposed fiscal year 11 Hatfield Economic Development Fund grant application to the Massachusetts Department of Housing and Community Development in an amount not to exceed $50,000 as detailed in the public hearing, which will include funding for a comprehensive site assessment and reuse planning project for the center school building, including the development of a marketing strategy for the site, identification and prioritization of economic development and housing, mixed-use options for the reuse of the building, and finally, the initiation of an assessment of the building to determine what improvements are needed for the types of uses identified.
Second it.
Okay, motion's been made, second, all in favor?
I further move to authorize the chairman of the Board of Selectmen to sign all required forms, documents, and authorizations pertaining to the proposed fiscal year 2011 Hatfield Economic Development Fund grant application.
Second.
Is there a second?
Okay, motion made, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
If I can have 20 more seconds.
Yes, sir.
My other question is, so this is just preliminary?
This is
and it's
applying
brought
for,
up to a vote at a
oh,
future
yes.
meeting?
Yeah, this is just to apply for a grant. Doesn't guarantee anything.
Okay, sir, Jim?
Well, I mean, this is going to be the actual application for a grant?
That's.
Yeah.
To move forward, to submit a grant.
So if you get the grant, then you put an RFP out?
Right. If we get the grant,
Right.
as he outlined.
So what has the town spent with PVPC to get thus far?
Nothing.
Zero.
Okay?
We got this under a DLTA grant, District Local Technical Assistance.
All right.
But what I'm saying is this meeting with all these people here, the actual going ahead with this $50,000, or is this,
This is just to authorize submission
okay.
of a request to the state for, submit an application for the grant. That's all
If
it
the
is.
state grants it,
Yes?
then that's it.
If the state grants it, then the study would be performed. That's correct.
Okay, Jim?
I have 3 folders here. One is for you. You have everything, I have everything tabbed there. I just want to, in advance, there's right now, most of the form certifications are done online, and you print them out. Right now, there's a glitch here in the system where it should print out with,
We're having a meeting, please. Okay,
It
go ahead,
should-
I thought you closed it a couple minutes ago.
No, we're still
You
discussing.
reopened it? Okay.
Sir, we're discussing things, okay, please?
The meeting continues. This
it's
is,
just procedural on some forms, it's got to be signed with it, that's all.
Sorry,
So it normally prints out where your name, right now it's a glitch, and I talked to the state, so I improvised where I made, you'll see the handwritten with a line, so I've made that all where to sign. I've got to download it and, I got to upload it and send it that way. So these are very certifications, ones that you're not using, this money here isn't going to displace any local monies, which you have, which you don't have local monies to perform this service. Relocation assistance, this is a planning grant, there's no relocation. There's a program income certification, which I'm gonna give to Paul, which needs to be signed by your accountant. There's no program income, you don't have any CDBG programs. Civil rights certification, on my understanding, you don't have any civil rights violations, so that's another one, it's all in here. And then there's, a general, chief elected official certification, and it's 3 pages, you can read that, it's all the compliance with HUD. And again, it's pretty standard language. And then the first one is just, that I made 2 places with the amounts, of the grant. And again, normally this prints out, I had to do this, where you'd have a summary here, what the total of the grant is. For some reason, there's a glitch. So I did it this way, want to upload it, but that would be for your signature. Also in there's an environmental, certifying Paul as the environmental review certifying officer for clearance purposes. This is an exempt grant. Planning is an exempt activity, doesn't require any environmental review at all. But still, someone has to say that, and this says Paul will sign and say, yes, this is exempt under section 58.34 of 24 CFR, which it is. So that would be for him to sign once you sign. And then there's 2 for your accountant, one basically saying, if you don't have any program income, like I mentioned, then I sign that as well. And then it's also the budget, which he's looked at, and I've got, attachments, if he has any questions, that yes, that $50,000 is what you're applying for, it's reasonable, it's been discussed, and that, so I'm gonna give these to Paul, and then that's yours, and make arrangements to get those. I still need the minutes, I'll need them from, I don't wanna put the pressure on, but from this meeting, and then the strategy ones from a while back. So, once I get the minutes from this meeting and the CD strategy meeting, I can upload everything. I'll give you some copies by the end of the week of everything that I've already done. I'll give you a couple of days lead time review, make any edits, and it'll be ready to go by April 3rd.
Outstanding.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you for your time.
Sign sheet that was somewhere circulated here?
I think I got it over here. Community forum next.
Thanks, Jim.
All right, is anybody here for community forum? If not, we'll get right into the minutes.
I want to make a comment, public
Okay,
comment.
go ahead.
What I'd like to do tonight is just let everybody know that the Board of Health has applied for a $1,500 grant, and that would be used for hand sanitizers. We ended up getting that last week. We got a letter. So again, John, you're here from school, and both of you are here. Let you know that we'll have another batch of hand sanitizer for next year. So we'll keep that going. So we're grateful for that, and we can keep that going. So don't plan on buying any more. Thank you.
Okay.
Motion to approve the Board of Selectmen minutes of 19 January 2013.
Okay, motion made, second.
Let's see, I'll second that one, on that one. I don't have any problem with that.
Okay, motion made, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to approve Board of Selectmen minutes of 5 March 2013.
I've got a couple of changes on that, Jeff.
Okay.
Page 2 under minutes. The last line, the vote was taken by Jeff Jan, and Ed Lesko says was absent, but Ed Lesko abstained.
Yeah. Oh, good.
And also on the next page, second paragraph down, which said Selectman Lesko said it's a shame it's wiping out the architectural and the oak floors, it should be trim and woodwork, not oak floors.
Okay.
Other than that, those are the only two changes that I had.
As amended.
Okay, motion's been made, seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
John.
next we have Kathy Engelhardt and John Robert from the school. If I guess you really can't come up here.
How about right over?
Yeah, I guess, yeah, okay, you can come.
Can you grab
Both
my
of you,
chair?
if you can. Sorry about the, can you move that coat and just bring one chair over there?
Watch it, you got,
Watch your microphone, Paul.
thank you.
Okay, John, if you'd like to kick it off, you're here for a statement of interest, and I have the letter here someplace.
Yeah, you should have a copy of the, of a motion that we're asking the board to consider tonight. At
Do you have
the February school committee meeting, the school committee voted to authorize me to submit on behalf of the Hatfield Public Schools a statement of interest to the school building authority under its oh boy, I don't remember what it's called. Trying to think of the exact name of the funding source, but basically, they have, oh, I'm sorry, I know what it is now. Under their accelerated school improvement program, what they have is, they have a program that will partially fund the repair of roofs, windows, and boilers. And in the case of Smith Academy, we're really talking more about their HVAC system. So the school committee in February did vote to authorize me to submit the statement of interest. Because it's necessary in Hatfield because of the, we are a public school, not a regional school district, it is also necessary that that vote is also taken by the Board of Selectmen as well. So that's what we're coming forward tonight. This does not commit either Massachusetts, either the School Building Authority for Massachusetts, or does it commit Hatfield to any monies at this point. All it really does is to put us in line for consideration for future potential funding. And by being in line, what it would do is it would send representatives from SBA out to look at Smith Academy, to look at our needs, to assess it themselves. And at that point, we would then have a conversation with them as far as what they would be offering up for us. So by the time this all would take place, we're probably looking at best, probably in passing fiscal year 15, I would say. I don't think we're looking at anything this year, other than getting us in line, because there are quite a few schools that are looking at this this particular program. So.
All right. Any issues or questions?
Okay, yeah, one question, John, on the roofing part. When you guys, this is not, did you guys get prices on this already and stuff?
When we did our multi-year planning, our long-term capital planning, we had some prices on what it would, at that point, cost to do the roof, plus a study.
Okay.
And at that point, it was around, I believe, I want to say about 800,000. I'd have to look and see. I think it was about $800,000.
All right. Mike, a little bit of concern that I had
Yeah.
is, if we're talking in the future to put solar up there, you might want to include brackets in here to be put in as they do the roof. Okay? That way the roofer that's going to be doing the roofing, if you get this grant, would put the brackets in place, and then they just add on top of them. So the mounts would be there. Okay, and that's an added expense, but that should be done at the same time the roofing is done.
Yeah,
So they can tighten everything around it.
Yeah, I don't think any of that would be covered by the SBA, because they're looking at repairing just the roof itself. But anything like that, I think, would have to be discussed by the school committee, whether we're
Okay.
looking, yeah, but as far as the timing of that taking place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if somebody were to do it later, let's say we got the grant, then you should probably incorporate that. Otherwise, the roofers, a lot of times, they won't guarantee the roof unless they do the bonding and stuff around the brackets, so.
Yeah, I know in any discussion with the roof at Smith Academy, the potential of a solar project has always been part of, as far as the timing of that, and as far as what you say, putting it in with the roof, because, yeah, once you put a new roof in, you're not gonna start,
Drilling holes
Absolutely.
and stuff like that, because
Yeah.
it'll always leak, right?
yeah, there was a considerable discussion when we looked at the capital planning for that. At this point, there isn't a plan to move forward with solar at Smith Academy at this particular time, but that could change down the road, so I think, yeah.
Right,
But again, we're only at the early initial stages at this point now,
Okay.
yeah.
I just wanted to make sure, if we're gonna spend that much money on it, I mean, if it costs us another $5,000 just to put the brackets in, you're better off to put the brackets in, because it would cost you major money later. So that's all I have.
That's it? Richard? You all set?
I'll do it. I move to adopt the following resolution. Having convened an open meeting on March 19th, 2013, the Board of Selectmen for the Town of Hatfield, in accordance with Charter, bylaws, and ordinances, voted to authorize the superintendent to submit to the Massachusetts School Building Authority the statement of interest form dated January 29th, 2013 for Smith Academy located at 34 School Street, Hatfield, Mass., which describes and explains the following deficiencies and the priority categories for which an application may be submitted to the Massachusetts School Building Authority in the future. Renovations of the existing school roof, which shows signs of considerable wear, blistering, and moisture between the roofing felts, which results in leaking. Replacement of the original windows, many of which are broken, do not open, exhibit very poor thermal performance, causing cold air to enter the building. And third, upgrade the existing HVAC system, which is old, obsolete, and energy inefficient. and hereby further specifically acknowledges that by submitting the statement of interest form, the Massachusetts School Building Authority in no way guarantees the acceptance or approval of an application, the awarding of a grant or any other funding commitment from the Massachusetts School Building Authority, or commits the city or the town of Hatfield to filing an application for funding with the Massachusetts School Building Authority.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion's been made, seconded. Any more discussion? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you,
Thank you
John.
very much.
Thank you. And if we have to sign,
Yeah, there'll be something,
Okay.
I'll get that to Paul.
all right.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
All right.
Sunshine.
Sunshot. All right, next we have the Solar Sunshot Challenge Grant
Want
with
to introduce this?
another member of the PVPC, David Albin.
That's right. Hi.
How are you?
Good to see you.
Yeah, we haven't met. Jeff.
Good to see you.
See you.
Hi, David.
Here's shaking your hand long distance.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, so if you wouldn't mind explaining the Sunshot Grant to the Sunshot
Rooftop.
Rooftop Solar Challenge Pilot Program to the residents and myself, actually, and probably to all three of us.
Please to. Looks like you have copies
Yes.
of the report. I have copies for anybody in the audience that would like them as well. I already read it. I'm good. You may recall, last August, PVPC began working with the town on the Sunshot Rooftop Solar Challenge. And in these 6 months, I've learned to say that 3 times fast. It's a project of the federal government that is, it's a pilot program that's interested in investigating what are some of the barriers that are happening at municipalities of different sizes to getting more rooftop solar installations and generating more electricity on rooftops. And so the state, in administering this federal program, chose Hatfield to be one of 6 pilot communities to do the Sunshot Rooftop Solar Challenge because of the success you'd had in the Solarized Mass project. You know, in that project, you'd gotten about 3 times the amount of installed solar panels that you'd anticipated getting. So the state was excited to continue that work. This project is different from Solarized Mass in that it was much more administrative. The state was interested basically in 2 things. They had reams and reams of draft, model, bylaw, additional regulations, financing for rooftop projects, and zoning, model zoning that they're considering for rooftop. So a lot of what we did on behalf of the town was to review those model regulations with your building inspector, Mr. Sadowski, and he was very candid and helpful throughout this. I met with him many times, and I couldn't have done this project without him and with Paul's help. So I just wanted to, and with the help of the Energy Committee, have really laying the groundwork for this. So I just want to acknowledge all those people who have been very helpful. And then the other part of this was to provide assistance to the town in areas where we could provide some help, particularly in the area of permitting. And so in addition to doing all this review of regulations, we actually created some product, and that wound up being a website with permitting information, how somebody with who has an interest in getting a rooftop solar installation goes about it. And we also, as part of that website, created a tool that allows the person to look at the town of Hatfield, and we were able to get a GIS layer that shows the roof print, so you can see the size of everybody's roof. And that's really the first step in helping somebody screen whether or not they're a suitable candidate for a rooftop installation. We did a very rough analysis and put that up on their website, and it shows that at least 90% of the roofs in Hatfield could be suitable for solar. So a lot of possibilities for installing more rooftop energy generating in town. When the project began, the state did an assessment of permitting, zoning, and financing options in the town. And they had a market assessment done by an outside consultant. And they did this for the 5 communities. I may have misspoke earlier when I said 6. There were 5 communities. And Hatfield was among the lowest, so there was the most opportunity to improve. And I'll just pass along here, highlighted the final score, which shows that Hatfield was the community with the greatest gain of the other participating communities, which were Boston, Cambridge, Harvard, and Winchester. So we beat out all those communities in terms of the most improvement because we were able to, again, with Mr. Sadowski's help, put together a really clear permitting guide. And that's part of what's in your final report, and it's what's up on the website now, and it's available to anybody who's interested in learning about the permitting steps that are required for installing rooftop solar.
Can I ask one question?
Yeah.
What's the composition of the assessment score?
It is a very long and detailed.
Okay, I thought so. No, that's,
It's a 12-page
all right,
Excel
that's-
spreadsheet.
Okay, I'm fine then.
I guess some of the most useful things that we learned from the town of Hatfield, you know, the feedback we were able to give, I think we were able to give DOER a reality check on the resources that are available at the small municipal level, which are limited, and let them know that we're able to deal with the permitting issues here through, you know, keeping regular business hours, having a building inspector who is up on the building code, keeping the fees flat, low, and simple. I think that information was also was very helpful to the state. Also, Stanley came up with you know, a threshold for gauging how much you want to charge larger projects, larger commercial projects that may be on rooftops. His notion is that you should be charging by the number of panels, because technology may change, these may become more efficient, and so you may be generating more energy from a fewer number of panels. It takes less staff time to inspect a smaller number of panels. So I think he had a very practical approach, and that's what we put in our report to the state. And I think they've appreciated it.
Good. Okay. Chris
Yeah.
Smith, do you have any questions?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can come up here, I guess.
Okay.
No, we're ahead.
Okay.
I'll be quick. I'll lob something in from here.
All right. Just let me start by letting the public know that the Energy Committee had no input at all in this. None, zero. We weren't asked. We got the grant, but that's the limit to it. My personal feeling, as this gentleman pointed out, it's $20,000, comes out of your wallet. May not come direct, it was a grant, but I think we could have done a lot more with this, personally. That's my, you know, I think the reason we looked at this grant when Mr. Ritter and I looked at the option here, I thought that perhaps this we would tailor more to the benefit of the town, not just shovel 20,000 over to PVPC. But that's my basic feeling. I've looked at what's been produced, the website. You know, you can get that at DOER. I don't see anything really.
Okay, thank you.
You know what I mean?
Thanks, Chris. Thank you. Okay.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
Appropriate, no?
Thank you, David.
Thanks very much.
Appreciate it, Dave.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
David.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on here. Next we
Ed, one
have,
fire department, or you?
yeah,
What's the
actually,
material? This was in behind the garage, you mean?
yeah, it's actually not just fire department. I talked to, just so people know, went up to the highway garage the other day. I know people have been complaining about the big pile of the blacktop shavings up there in the middle of the lot and everything. And we're trying to figure out a spot to put some of it. Some of it we're gonna get rid of, but it does come in handy to help repair some of the old dirt roads and things like that. So that's why we keep it there. But I was walking around and I happened to notice we ourselves have a lot of equipment over there that could basically either go into the scrap bin, or I happened to spot some trailers that were basically belonged to the fire department. They've been there for a number of years, and so I happened to see Chief Belden Saturday morning at the transfer station. So both of us went over there, and he looked and he said a couple of them he didn't even realize they were there or actually his. So he's checking into that. We're going to see if we can get rid of all of them. We got 2 trucks over there. One of the newer tanker trucks that just has been taken out of service has to go back to the federal government, I believe. There's another truck there that we're unsure of that came in from the federal government. After so many years, the town gets to keep them, but we want to check, or he's going to check with all of this. So the thing is, I just wanted to bring it up because not only does he have stuff there, but we have stuff there. Everything from some old civil defense water barrels that are,
Time to clean
you
up.
know, it's time to clean up. There's a couple of old plow frames that won't fit any truck of ours. There's a lot of iron there. We also have probably the original Town of Hatfield road grader that's over there that was taken out of the barn that fell down behind Town Hall. It was stored in there. From what I understand, the Historical Society doesn't want it. It's really of no use. It's you know, if somebody, I guess my thing is if somebody would want to take and renovate it for the town and we could put it somewhere on display, either coming into town at the little, we were always talking about a sign there or come up with some solution, but if nobody has interest in it, I don't see a need of keeping it. I think if we can get probably some money in iron for it, but the other thing is we have a bunch of bricks down at the Elm Court. I talked about bringing the brush down there, and trouble is there's no room because we have bricks down there. So I guess I just want to bring it up to 2 of you to see if we come up with some kind of ideas on how to get rid of this stuff. Or I mentioned to Phil, maybe with the bricks we could either sell them. If townspeople would want them, I mean, we'd give them a pretty good deal on them, you know, for whatever they want to use them for. They're not really all that.
Those
they're
came
not
from
that
the old
good.
milkman school.
Right, and they're the soft brick, a lot of it. So there really isn't much use for it. I think we'd have a better shot at probably getting rid of it over to Lanes, and I think they crush them up for that landscape brick and stuff like that. But if anybody does have interest in it, maybe you can get a hold of Phil, and we can probably come up with some kind of idea to just give, you know, see if we can help out some of the townspeople. Do either one of you have any ideas on that?
No, I'd just soon let Phil give us some suggestions if he has any.
All right.
Yeah, I know at one time we talked about doing the sign in the
And
breakfast
using
home,
some of those
Yeah.
bricks.
use
Well,
some
I,
of
well, I
those
mean,
for
there's
ourselves, yeah,
believe me, there's plenty there. So,
which would be a nice thing to do.
but yeah, you know, like I told him, I says we definitely got to clean that place up. You know, it is an eyesore to go by. So, we're working on it. All right. Next, we have the Human Resource Committee.
That's me.
That's you.
Yeah, just an update here. We discussed several weeks ago the notion of creating a permanent human resource committee to deal with personnel issues regarding the classification plan. It would be an advisory committee to the board dealing with those types of issues, and to occasionally update the classification plan. So we talked about getting the ad hoc group that was together last year, see if any of those folks were agreeable to serving on this permanent committee. Penny Geis had moved out of town. Sandy Shields, she may have retired since I talked to her, but she said she would be retiring soon and wouldn't be spending much time in Hatfield. However, Colleen Ademski and Sandy Belden and Daryl Williams have all agreed to serve. And of course, we also discussed that I would also be on that committee. So we probably need to find someone else, a five-member board.
How many people we got left to do on that whole, bringing everybody up to date and stuff like that? How many are left to do, and how many?
There's not a lot. There's not a few positions.
But then, I
course,
guess
the
my question is, do we need a committee if there's not a lot, if there's only a few?
Yeah, well, first of all, we need to have a charter, and we haven't developed a charter.
I did start one.
Okay, and there's some deliverables. Recall that a
This was
couple years
gonna
back,
be ongoing.
we went to town meeting, and town meeting blessed creating an annex to the human resource policy, a classification annex. That's one deliverable of this group. But this would be an ongoing activity to review a range of human resource issues. One simply being classification and reviewing pay across comparable sized communities, and so we'd have some basis for our actions with regard to pay and what we offer certain positions. But this group could also get into a number of other things, and we can flesh that out when we develop the charter. Awards and recognition program for our folks. We don't have anything right now. Well, there's a range of human resource issues that come up from time to time, and I think having an independent sounding board, giving the board advice, and that's all they're doing is giving us advice, would be helpful to us.
Do we have anybody that's been in human resources?
Well,
Okay,
Mrs.
on that committee?
Adamski that's her job. She's been in human
Okay.
resources.
Yep. If that's all I'm concerned that,
Sandy's
there are people that-
managed a
sure.
large
If they're not.
corporation, banking corporation.
All right, and then the next thing is, how many people on the committee would we have?
Yeah, I would think a five-member
Five-member committee?
committee would be
And
appropriate.
recall, town administrator is one of the five.
Okay.
Yeah. One name that was mentioned to me of a individual who.
As long as, I guess my point is, as long as there's more than just a few, there's other things to do, then it would be worth putting a committee. But if it's only to deal with, to finalize a handful of people,
It would be ongoing. I mean, there's been some issues that have come up that have yet to be resolved, and as time goes on, those issues will pop up here and again, and yeah, I think it really is advantageous to have a separate group from the board look at these things and advise the board, and try and keep politics out of it as much as possible. But another name that was mentioned to me who this person thought would be very good on this committee is Fran Guggen,
Yes?
former superintendent, has a lot of experience in personnel issues. So I haven't talked to Fran yet about it, but
So we can't name him tonight.
so we can't appoint him tonight, no. But anyways, that's the status on that.
All right. Well, why don't we get the whole committee together and the charter together, and we'll do it all in one shot. How's
Okay,
that?
sounds good.
Okay. All right. Appointments. These are appointments for Animal Control, Board of Registrars, Conservation, Constable, Inspector of Animals, Police, Recreation Committee, Veteran Services. I'm just giving a quick rundown here. Inspectors, electrical, gas, plumbing.
Paul, question, have you gone through any of this and checked with people to make sure that they still want to be?
He has.
He has.
That's the heading on
Yep.
the list, and those who wish to be reappointed.
You're all right here. So, do you want to go down through them one by one, or do you want to go in?
Well, let's take another look. What is the triple asterisk on the local cultural council name?
Sally Winnings is only eligible to be reappointed for one more year.
Right.
Even though the position itself, I think, is for a different number of years, possibly three.
Down here, Jan. On the vacancy side,
Well,
we have the Cable Advisory Committee, and I know we talked about doing away with the Cable Advisory Committee because Paul was basically handling that. So do we want to just abandon that committee and,
I think we should have Paul come in
Yeah, I
and
would,
speak
yeah.
to it. And,
oh, where'd he go?
Left somewhere down the hall.
Okay.
On the individuals who have requested consideration for reappointment, I would move that the board accept the reappointments as submitted.
On sheet one?
Sheet 1, Selectmen's annual appointments, pending appointment effective April 1st. Those wishing to be reconsidered.
All right, I'll second that motion.
Okay.
Just want to make sure we-
Motion's been made, seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, except for myself and Conservation. I can't appoint myself.
You're abstaining on that.
I am abstaining.
Understand. All in favor? Aye.
Aye. Jan abstained from his
Yep,
name.
she's, I looked right at her, so she's got it all written down.
Okay.
All right, while we're waiting for Paul, we can go through the abatements.
Well, just waiting for Paul on one, but
Motion good.
Statements.
as I read this, okay, we still have no reply and vacancies are,
Yes, sir.
so,
Still do.
so we still have vacancies available. Agricultural Advisory Committee, Capital Improvement Planning Committee, but Council on Aging, Historical Commission, Local Cultural Council, the Open Space Commission, Recreation Commission, Veterans Commemorative Commission, the ADA Commission, the Elderly and Disabled Taxation Fund Commission, Energy Committee, and the Library Committee and Zoning Board of Appeals. Now, on the
There is no
library-
application for it.
on the Library Building Committee, recall we did eliminate, is this considering the positions that have been eliminated on that particular committee? Okay,
I think we eliminated two, right? So it'd be a
So-
3-person or a 5-person?
in all events, there's still opportunity there for folks interested in the Library Building Committee, but I don't think it's as many as we have indicated here.
All right, let's get back to the cable.
Paul, there were some folks here, there are vacancies on the Cable Advisory Committee, and do you have a position on the committee or recommendation?
I know we talked about
We gave it to you.
dissolving it.
Yeah, there, I mean, from my experience so far, I think, you know, there was a need for that committee as we were trying to develop a new contract with Comcast. Now that we've developed and signed a contract with them, which is good for 10 years, I'm not, in my opinion, I cannot really find a particular need for that committee to exist.
So, do we want to abandon it?
The only thing there is, if
Or do we
if
just
we,
want to wait and see and,
we have a charter for that committee, and a co-partner in that committee is the school committee. So I would,
he was one of them that resigned.
No, the school committee.
The school committee is a signatory to the charter,
Oh,
and I would only suggest that we coordinate that action with the school committee to see if they
Let
have any
Paul
issue,
do some legwork on it,
I'll
find
talk
out if
and
that's
then otherwise press on as Paul
what we
recommends.
need to do.
So can
I
we
mean,
just table it for today and then?
All right, we can do that, sure.
Right, and then on, Key, on these other ones that haven't replied,
Yes, sir. Some of the vacancies now.
I look at some of them, you know, like, on the agricultural. I don't know if Tom is still interested in it.
I'm sure he
I'm sure he probably
probably is.
Betsy, I'm not sure. Capital improvement, you've got,
Ty and Fran
Ty
have
and
not
Fran.
responded.
so,
I'm meeting with them shortly anyway on the school
all right.
capital project. I'll have to reconvene.
George, we gotta wait until he comes back from vacation.
Yeah, I'm sure he's good with
Yeah.
that.
So no.
Anna,
sorry.
she's been on the rec department for quite a while.
So no also.
You just didn't get a hold of these people, or,
Anna said no, and George said no.
oh, Anna and George said no?
Really?
Wow.
Did
Okay.
anyone else on
Because
the
it
list
says
say
pending
no?
appointment here.
I don't think it was.
Anybody else that said no?
That's what she's looking.
Anna said no, George said no. No, the rest on the top I have not heard from.
Okay.
All right. All right, well,
Still have a number of vacancies, as I just read off, so if folks are interested.
The other, I just want to make a comment here. We've got an individual that sent their application in to the town, but Paul, when an application comes in, there should be a resume or something attached to it, so we
Actually-
can get a little drift of what's going on
Yeah.
in their
I have-
background and stuff
I
like
have
that.
that right here.
Okay.
do we have an opening on that committee?
Well, Anna's not
She's
going
gone.
on there, so there will be one.
Actually,
Yeah, I saw it. I got it
Melody's
right
right here.
I got that.
Ed probably doesn't have it.
I haven't seen this yet.
But we gotta get the, you gotta see Louise on that.
Right, right. But this is Melody right here.
Oh, okay. All right, well, why don't you come up here and I'll just,
Up there.
we can't appoint you tonight because we have to go through the town clerk. She's gonna fill out some paperwork and bring it to us, and then, once we're all set, then we can appoint you, so that hopefully we can get that done by next meeting.
Well, we can appoint her
No.
subject to completion.
Subject to, yeah.
Well, if you want to do that.
Yeah, I
I'll
move,
let you listen to her.
Let me finish
Louise.
reading this, so I
okay.
know a little bit about her.
So you're Melanie Edwards, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right, and you had a business
I
that you
did.
sold?
I just sold it, which is
Yeah.
why I can do this now.
Okay, so you got plenty of time on your hands. Okay.
Oh, yes.
You want to run for selectman? or-
No, no. I don't know how you guys do it.
All right, so,
Subject to
okay, if you want
Place
to
of
make the motion, I'm good with that.
appropriate application to the town clerk, I would move to appoint Ms. Melody Edwards to the Recreation Committee.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion made, seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Welcome
you.
aboard.
Should I make a speech now?
Yeah, sure. If you'd like, go right ahead.
Oh, yes, I don't know anything about this.
Three-year term, isn't
The
it?
term of, amend the motion to a 3-year term.
Second.
And who will I speak to about being on this board? Will they contact me, or, because I know absolutely nothing about it.
Why don't you go in,
I talked to Nancy about what the board does
Yep.
over the years. I've talked to her about it, and she wants me on the board. I just,
Well, Keith, could you identify the current chair and
Is John Smirowski.
get,
Once we
Ms.
get all
Edwards
the
a number.
paperwork
Yeah.
done, then you have to get sworn
you
in by
have
the
to get
town clerk.
sworn in by the town clerk.
okay.
Maybe you could set that up
Mm-hmm.
so she can,
Paul, will you help her
Get that
walk
done.
through it?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, not a
so
problem.
then
Paul.
you'll be all
Okay.
set to go.
Okay,
Right?
thank you.
thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Work through that.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We had Mr. Flaherty in a previous package
I saw that, and-
volunteering to
but I don't,
take the position formerly occupied by the late Sue Gahn on the Emergency Management Committee. And I just saw that,
no,
Not
but,
what it was.
wait a minute, time out.
okay?
We appointed Carol Keller in Sugon's place,
Okay,
okay? So
okay. I just remember seeing the
whether
package.
we have an open vacancy on that or not, okay? Because I don't believe we do, but, yes,
Chief Belden said that the first responders were advised to have alternates.
so he's
So
asking
that's-
for an
He
alternate.
was asking for an alternate.
Okay, with that, yeah, he can be, I'll move that we,
Well, I don't even have his package
No.
here today, and it's not even in here.
okay.
Well, if you're
Bob
prepared to do it, I just remember
Yeah.
seeing the
Well, if he's an
name.
alternate, I don't have a problem, I know Bob, and I don't have a problem with him being an alternate in there. He's been on the fire department for
That's fine,
quite a few years,
I'm
ambulance,
fully supportive.
and, that's.
I just remember we saw his package, and then we never acted on the,
Yeah, I saw it last meeting,
yeah.
and I meant to say something, I
All
forgot.
right, so there's a motion
I
for
move that
appointment?
we appoint him as an alternate to the Emergency Planning Committee.
Second?
Okay, motion made, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Although, again, he has to go through and get his,
Got to go
Understand.
through the process.
the process of the paperwork from Louise or. All right. And I don't know if you can,
Abatements.
I mean, you can probably get a, you said you'll see them, I can see this one here,
I'll ask Tom Petson also.
and, yeah, okay.
He's still
And I'll get a
interested.
hold of Kenny to see if I'm sure he probably is.
I just saw George today, let's see. Oh, I see, I'll see Tommy Petson.
Oh, okay, well,
Oh, okay, either one of them, I see him on Monday nights anyway.
So you'll take care of the other two? Tommy
Yeah.
and Franny? All right, we'll see if we can get them to,
Historical Commission might have somebody in mind, they might have somebody on the society that might be interested in the commission since George got off. All right, let's see what we can come up with there. Ambulance abatements next?
Ambulance abatements.
There are none. I got confused too. I'm not
Okay.
the only one.
All right.
That's,
Well, that took care of
that's
that.
correct. There were no commitments, I mean, there was nothing billed.
I could not figure out how we would abate a minus number.
No,
That's great.
So I
I
talked,
didn't even look at it. I
Yeah.
saw it in the packet
I-
this afternoon.
I
Okay.
talked to the tax collector about it, and she said she's never seen that before.
Really?
Yeah, so.
That's good.
Well, not to belabor this, but have we ever heard anything more from the firm we engaged to pick up after Coastal has tried and failed?
Actually, no, now that you mention it. we haven't.
That was going to try to go after the money
Yeah,
that
take it
is sitting
one
out there.
step
But I
further.
thought that was already done, and that was Coastal was taking care of that part.
Yeah, and we signed a contract with another,
Another one
For
from
another company
beyond,
that they forwarded
Yeah.
on to.
but I've never heard a report or seen anything
no, I've heard nothing
if
since
there's any
then.
results.
Paul, maybe you should contact
Yeah.
them and
Just-
find out what's up with that.
Yeah,
Not that we probably expect big bucks, but is anything happening?
All right. Paul, you want to go ahead on the town hall renovations?
yeah, we've already talked a lot about this previously, but just a quick update. On the town hall renovations, you know, the architect is working on the construction drawings, and we'll probably be ready to put this out to bid in a few weeks. And so we'll see where that leads us. Now, on the related to that is the window project, which is a separate project that the town is handling, you know, on its own. I've put that project out to bid already, and the bids are due in the 29th of March, which is a week from Friday. So we'll have some solid numbers on that project. So we're overall, I think we're making good progress. It would be nice to know, you know, what some of these numbers are going to look like before town meeting. We will have some of them, but not all of them. So we're making steady progress there. On the town hall garage, those construction documents are just about done. Today, the notice was submitted to the Central Register for it to appear, and it will appear a week from Wednesday, the 27th. And we will have a due date for bids on April 18th. So by the time town meeting occurs in May, we'll know exactly what that project is going to cost. And that's pretty much where we're at the moment.
Okay. All right. Either one of you have anything else?
Nope.
Schedule. Our Lee meeting today. We're meeting with the Finance Committee next Tuesday,
Next Tuesday.
and we never got a chance to finish up the budget. We went over the articles today.
Right. Well, we can go back upstairs and go through that some more if you'd like, or if you want to hold off for a while.
It's already 7 o'clock. We've been here since 3:30.
I concur with Ed.
Well, you don't have that far to go.
4.5 hours is the longest meeting I've had, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
we're
no.
trying to cut
Well-
money, cut the budget. so.
Jan, you're going to be gone tomorrow?
No, I'm going to be here tomorrow, so,
Oh,
well, somewhere.
somewhere.
I don't know.
What
Well-
about Thursday or Friday?
That I'm not sure of. That I'm not sure of.
So you're
All
gonna
I
be
know
here
is
tomorrow, Jan?
Tomorrow, tomorrow is off. But Thursday and Friday, I'm not sure. Could be could be heading to New York, I'm not sure.
Monday?
Tonight?
Monday. Monday, we could do Monday.
We got,
Well,
yeah.
okay, 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. 9 o'clock.
I have an appointment tomorrow morning with the school.
Okay.
Hold on a second, we've got a meeting tomorrow morning.
8 o'clock, I'm meeting
Board
with
of Health, I got 10 o'clock meeting,
school superintendent.
9:30 meeting.
Solar, I think it's at
Well, how
7:30.
about, go with Thursday? Go with Thursday?
Thursday?
Thursday, have to be in the morning. I got
Yeah.
teachers' contract negotiations all afternoon.
Thursday morning?
Do it 8 o'clock in the morning, Thursday
Yeah.
morning?
Okay, that's fine.
Because I doubt if I'll be going Thursday, but.
It really, it shouldn't, since we went through the articles, we've
Yeah.
already pared down. So,
I think,
Just gotta find the money.
I think,
within an hour,
gotta
we'll
squeak the
we'll have
money
it,
around,
we'll have it
I-
done.
Yeah, I'd say an hour. I think most of the big questions have been answered
At least for right now. And
for now, yeah.
Right. All right, well, no sense of sitting here.
I move we adjourn?
There we go.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.